Also, what's up, everyone? It's not just your average Joe. So, I kind of wanted to chat about the Tempest trials. It might be a little bit loud. I wanted to chat about the Tempest trials and how I prep for it. So, just going over, this is my team B and this is my team A. So, the consistency I have is that the weapon triangle. You need the weapon triangle, I believe, in order to be very successful. But not only that, you have to be able to target every single weapon unit there is out there. So I'm gonna start with Julia, right? So Julia takes care of all the blue units. That's the blue tome users, and the lance units. And not only does she take care of all of those, but she takes care of the healers. So that's three. That's three of the categories of weapons that's out. Oh, what was there? Sword. So I think it's 3 each, and then the dragons. So that's 15. So 3 out of the 15 that's gone. I don't really worry about the dragons too much because I have Julia and 3 of them are blue. So no, yeah, Fima Corrin, Noe, and Ninian. So I have zero worries about that because Julia. And then I had to worry about both Tikis and Faz. I don't worry about her at all. She's just annoying with drawback. Anyways, so Julia is there for 6. Mostly for lance units, blue tome users, and healers, and that's why she has the quicker pause to be able to double the healers. But then she also plays a role with the blue dragons, the green dragons, and the red dragons, like all the dragons. So that's Julia's role, and she plays it very well, especially with Naga, right? And then let's move on to Soniki, and Soniki is for the sword units. To a certain extent, the red tome users as well, but mostly the green tome users and the axe units. So that's her role, and she plays it very well. I needed a unit to attack the sword units, and that's why it's Soniki, because a lot of them have low resistance, barring Hollywood, Roy, Fur. Sometimes they just have an absurd amount of HP too. Like Seliph lives sometimes. Olivia too. She'll live if it's in the later stages of the trial. And that's why I have Swordbreaker up, because I need someone to target sword units. I'll talk about it more a little bit later, but that's the 3 that she takes care of, and she takes care of it very well. And Noe takes care of all the rest of the units. Soniki does take care of Faye and Adult Tiki sometimes too, but that's besides the point. So Noe is mostly for Adult Tiki. Ryoma and Ike, because he doesn't really do sword units, and the rest, so the thieves and the bow users, which is why I gave Bowbreaker. Now, I gave her Bowbreaker because I found they did more substantial damage than thieves, because thieves tend to be weak. The only ones I was really scared of was Kakuro, right? Most of the other ones I don't have like too big of an issue on. So yeah, that's my team, right? It's not just a weapon triangle. I specifically have them built to beat certain weapon types, and I think that's the most beneficial part about my team. And I think you should strategize your team as well. You have to think of every single weapon type and think, how am I going to strategize against certain weapon types. Like, it's not just that I use Julia to attack lance units. And there's a strategy. I have a set mini strategy that I have with Julia that always will get me the kill with the lance unit, because I had to dance around them stuff and I had to avoid them. Things. Other than other things, right? They obviously don't always fit that mold too, right? Like Julia and Soniki just take magic hits, and then Noe will take the physical hits, whether be it range or melee, and then. So Noe takes a huge beating, and I think you need that sometimes, like especially a tank that can take a lot of hits, and that's what Noe is for me, and she does it very well, because it's a nice 35 defense stat that really helps. And then Soniki and Julia fit the role of taking magic hits. So now that I have kind of the weapon types out of the way, I want to concentrate on Soniki. Now you can see that her SP count is gargantuan compared to the other 3 on my team, especially Olivia, right? Because I don't really use Olivia, but I'll talk about her also in 1 second. So Soniki is excellent, and she has a lot of SP because statistically the most amount of units you'd face first are sword, lance, and axe. Like I was doing the math, I counted. Don't ask me why I did that. Just know that on a statistic basis, you're most likely to face a sword unit. And oh, my brother wants me to lock the door. Okay, sorry, this is distracting. Anyways, damn it, he interrupted me. What was I saying? Okay, so sword units are statistically the most common units you're gonna face, so you want to be prepared for that, and that's why I have sword breaker on Suniki, and it usually works out that way. I can say with utmost confidence you're probably faced out of all the units you face, you probably face sword units the most. So you need to be prepared for that, and that's what I am prepared for because Suniki can hit hard and she doubles. She has an active skill now, so I can depend on that too. A little bit of extra damage is always good, especially on Roy and Elliewood. For those units that can tank it well. Well, they don't take it well, but they take it well enough not to die. So, I just wanted to go about that, and so now that you've thought about all the weapon types, the last thing you want to talk, well, two things. One, all my units are slow. You see that, right? They're all at 30 speed, and Noe, I gave her a lot of buff, Fury and the speed. Plus speed, Sacred Seal. And then Julia has Breath of Life, and Sonic has Breath of Life. Now, Julia came with Breath of Life, and I find that she's so strong, and it's really, for some reason, really efficient for her. Because Soniki, she can take on sword units, right? So she goes off from the map a lot of times, but usually Julia and Noe are beside each other or near each other. So I thought that the Breath of Life Sacred Seal made the most sense on Julia. So she heals 10, and she came with Breath of Life, and I found that Julia was dying too often, and it was really putting me in a disadvantage, so I gave Breath of Life to Soniki, and so I can heal Julia. And that's how that's the synergy in my team in terms of healing, because no matter how good your tanks you are, there are only so much hits you can take, right? And you need to heal eventually, especially with Noe and her Fury. Sometimes her Fury does more damage than the actual damage she's taking. Sometimes Poison Strike really kills her, so among other things. But because they're so slow, the unsung hero in this team, I think I went on a tangent. Anyways, because they're so slow, I need Olivia. The dance is uber important, because if without it, I would lose a lot of runs, because Julia she normally needs only 2 hits to take out any lance unit, no matter what stage. She only just needs 2 hits. Soniki, when I'm facing maybe 2 sword units, she can go advance by herself and just wreck, and then take a magic hit or 2. And Noe also does need the extra hit. Now, that's gonna be everything, and I really do think Olivia is the most important unit the most important, because she's in my B team as well. And then the last 2 things, wait, it might just be the one thing. I don't think I'm... Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is how you start and where you're finishing. So you have to build a team that's built to last, which is what I have. Oh, that's right. That's why, because my team is built to last, and I do that by having units that are range, attack, melee units, and I have a unit that's melee based that attacks range units. That way, I minimize the amount of damage they're taking every single turn and every single floor. And I find that's most efficient that way, because you conserve HP. You don't have to worry about healing too much. Like the Breath of Life, yes, it's there, but I would appreciate it if I didn't have to use it. So by avoiding taking damage by using range units to attack melee units, allows me to conserve HP and not worry about HP stats so much. And then having a melee unit attack range units. Excuse me, sorry, I just burped. And having a melee unit attack range units allows me to conserve Noe's HP as efficiently as possible. So I think that's important. It's about efficiency, right? So the last point I wanted to talk about was, now you're going to the end, and in the end you have to think about how you're going to plan it. So there's always a melee cavalry unit over here on the left side near Veronica. Nearest to you is always an armored unit, and on the right side here is always a mage unit, right? So you always have to be prepared for that. Also, you have to keep in mind that the trials doesn't repeat units. So if you face one unit, that's it. That's it. So you can keep that in mind, and you can kind of predict who's gonna be beside who's gonna show up in the last chapter. And lastly, beside Veronica is always a ranged unit, whether or not it's magic based or physical based, whether it's a thief or an archer, is up to RNG. But that's how it's always is. So that's how I kind of built my team for too, because like in my story, not my story, my video about preparing for the Grand Hero battles, I try to match what the other unit, what the Grand Hero battle offers. So there are more ranged units. I tend to have this more ranged units on my team. If there are more melee units, I tend to have more melee units on my team, right? Since you can see that there's more range units, three, as opposed to the two. I just stick with trying to defeat it using more magic units, and that's kind of how my team is built, right? So just in conclusion, it's built to last, and it's built for endgame. That's what's important. You need to find a way to build your team for endgame as well as to build to last, and that's how I made my team. So, you know, just concluding, weapon triangle, weapon types, synergy. You need a healing factor, and you need to prepare your team for endgame, right? So if there were more melee units, I'd probably put Minerva instead of Julia. Or if there were more range units, no, we wouldn't be there. I might put. I don't have a blue Ursula. I don't know. I don't really have a good blue tome user, but that's not cavalry. So yeah. So that's gonna be everything. I thank you for watching. I hope this helps, and later days.